welcome to The Rough Cut with Chanel B. I'm your host, of course, the singer-songwriter, producer, as well as the CEO of London Records. And we have a wonderful show for you guys. We have the amazing Headkrack in the building, well, online.
Well, I'm literally in the building. I'm not allowed to leave. This quarantine is in full effect. They don't really want us going anywhere. I'm sheltering in place. Headkrack's in the house.
Welcome to the Quarantine and Chill edition here on Urban Ish TV. We are excited. So what we do is we view, of course, celebrities in a positive light. We try to get a back-end story of your path, your journey, on how it took, what it took, everything that goes into the ingredients that made Headkrack today, and of course, what you do. Okay. And we want to have fun too. So I heard you were a funny guy. So
yeah, I like to have fun. And okay, if you laugh, you laugh. You know, it is what it is. The story is the story. So let's go.
You are a hustle and flow. What is it? What's just hustle?
So the name of the morning show is called The Morning Hustle.
Morning Hustle.
Yeah, like, you know, we launched in January of 2020. You know, we syndicated across like almost 40 cities across the country.
Okay.
And you know, the crew consists of me, myself, Angie, L'Oreal, and comedian Billy Sorrells. And basically, you know, we're four people from different walks of life. Right. You know, form Voltron every morning to try to tell our stories and entertain you. And then more so than anything in this current space is like, you know, keep you informed about everything that's going on with this whole corona situation, but as well as, you know, make you smile a little bit along the way. It's really hard to smile these days. So, you know, we try to come alive every morning and bring that to you.
That part. Also, you do the Dish Show.
Yeah, Dish Nation. Yeah, man, we're currently on our 8th season. We'll be in the 9th starting in September. And it's dope. It's an entertainment news show. And the crazy thing is, like, when I was a kid, I used to always watch, like, Entertainment Tonight when I was, like, 5. You know what I mean? And, like, for some bizarre reason, I was like, yo, this stuff is going to come in handy at some point. And then you fast forward, like, later in life, boom, I'm doing an entertainment news show, too. And it's fun. Like, you know, I'm doing it with The Brat. I'm doing it with Portia Williams. I'm doing it with Gary with the T. Right. Got Heidi and Frank and Chewy in LA. And, you know, it's a fun ride. And, like, every day is a different day, man. And we get to have fun on camera. And they send us a check every week to do it. So
you can't be mad.
Not mad at all, man. I couldn't have wished it, manifested, or willed it any better.
Right. And you are also a hip-hop artist.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Out of everything I do, you know what I'm saying? It is my least paying, but most, you know, personally fulfilling aspect of what I do. Right. I love making music. I love telling stories through music. And more so than anything, I like performing music live because, you know, I'm still in a space and place where people are learning that I do music, you know, for the first time. So, because you see me do one particular thing Monday through Friday, you don't think about the other stuff. It's kind of an afterthought. So when people like come to the shows, or if they see me open for somebody or happen to catch a freestyle online and they like it, it's like, all right, dope, cool. We converted another fan. So, you know, I enjoy that aspect of it. And I got some videos that's out right now. We just released a video called Cali about 2 weeks ago, but it's spelled K-A-L-L-Y. And it's a dope video. It's sexily done. And it's such a vibe. It's such a vibe. You can't go nowhere right now in real life, so let me take you to Cali in a video.
Well, we're going to have to make sure we check that out, because right now that probably would be a great thing to view with all of this going on.
I wish I would have shot it in VR. So, like, you know, you could just throw the goggles on and, like, you know, let me put you in this experience for a second.
Enjoy the beach, enjoy wherever you are.
Exactly.
So how are you doing during this, you know, in the middle of this pandemic? How are you doing with the quarantine and staying in the house and, you know, the stuff that you do? Like, is it affecting the things that you do, or are you the same thing you're doing with us? Are you?
Well, you know, like, to quote the book, It's a Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times and the worst of times. You know what I mean? Like, because, like, I'm at a part where, like, I'm not really a club guy. I don't like going to clubs. Only time I really go out is like nighttime events if I'm doing a show or if I'm hosting like a movie screening. So I'm not really affected by the nightlife. I do miss going to the movies. Like, I'm sad. Yeah. Like, I had to order a movie yesterday for my kids and we watched it in the living room.
Was it the Trolls movie?
It was. And, you know, I probably would have liked it more if it was in theaters. You know what I mean? Like it loses a little bit of its sting a little bit when you don't have that whole experience. Cause like no matter how blessed I am to like, make a couple dollars or whatnot, I'm still sneaking movies and I'm still sneaking food into the movies. So being at home and having the food already there, it takes that criminal element out of it for me. So I can't sneak food into the movie because it's already here because we're watching it at home. And then some of these movies, I don't know, when you watch them at home, you feel like, hey, this should have never been released in the theaters anyway. This is how we should have watched it. But
but
so
I've
that's
heard that a lot of movies that would be originally released in the movie theater is just going to be coming straight to the at home on demand.
Yeah.
So specifically for that. So
it works for some movies.
Yes.
Like I watched The Invisible Man at the crib, but I also saw it in the movie theaters.
But how was that? Because I wanted to watch that.
I thought it was a dope movie. It's like a thriller. Some people may even say a comedy, but but it's a really good movie. And if you're watching it like with the lights off, dark, you set the
atmosphere, had the surround sound on.
Yeah. And that environment is really dope to watch at the crib. There's a couple movies that I was waiting to come out that they've completely pushed back altogether, and we just got to see what happens and how long this thing rides out. But like the movie thing, and then also too, because I'm a foodie, I don't know about you. Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay, so check this out. I shop at Costco a lot, and one of my biggest things about going to Costco is the samples. And due to this quarantine, everybody's back, give me 50 feet. They're not doing samples anymore. It really hurts my heart. And I feel like when everything goes back to normal, that's going to be done. Like no one's going to be doing samples anymore. Like
comfort under what the circumstances are. So yeah, you probably won't be getting many samples like that.
And I also
feel like Sam Clubs do they do samples too. And Publix does too.
Yeah.
Set them down.
They're done. I think DAP is going to be optional moving forward. When you DAP somebody, that means you really trust them. That is the upgrade.
Elbow. Yeah. Or just head nod.
Oh, that's my go-to now. Black man nod all day.
I got you. So, Headkrack, you are a very innovative person, if I may add.
Thank you.
Not only are you a media personality, but you have several shows. So you're also an artist, and I want you to dive more so into your media personality.
Okay.
You've been in the radio industry for quite some time. How was it when you first started? And it was great. How was it when you first started?
When I first started, it was a party. You know what I mean? Because even how I got into radio, it was me and two of my closest homies at the time. We were at a party one night. There was a station that came to town. They didn't have any DJs. I said, yo, let's go to the studio tomorrow and make a tape. Let's turn it in like we already have a show. And in a perfect world, we'll work like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. We turned the tape in. A couple weeks went by. They called us and they're like, yo, we want you to be our nighttime show. Whatever you're doing for like work right now, you can quit that. We're about to cake you down. Whatever that meant at the time. So we quit our gigs and we became radio personalities. And because it was before everything got super duper corporate, we literally had the freedom and the ability to do whatever we wanted. And our program director at the time, he was just such a young visionary, and he trusted us. He's like, hey, if you're out and about and you hear a song today that's supposed to be, that should be played, you come back and you clean it up, you play it. Now it's like, you gotta like call 4 people, and it's so much red tape and just nonsense, that goes to the process now.
You got to go through to get this there. So yeah, it's not as easy.
I think back then they hired a lot of people because they had their ear to the street versus now they kind of just hire people, and there's like select few within certain companies that control what songs you hear. My whole thing is like, yo, who is getting the records first from people and who has a good ear for what people want to hear? And that's what I came up in. And, between point A and point B, we kind of lost a little bit of that power because just the way the business and the infrastructure changed. But at the end of the day, it was fun. Like, the contests we were doing on the air, it was stuff that they probably wouldn't allow us to do in 2020.
Right.
But, but we would shoot first and ask questions last. And I still do a lot of that now. It's just a little bit different because we're doing a radio show from home. And it's really hard to do a lot of anything right now, but we still stretch our legs as much as we possibly can and try to have, I always want to try to have the same amount of fun that I did my first year I came in the radio.
And that's always the attitude to have, because then it keeps you going. It keeps you still up with the Joneses, making sure,
Yeah, I don't take none of this for granted, because I know tomorrow, I mean, there's somebody right now who wishes they was in the spot that I was in, and some people are probably mad because I'm in the spot I'm in. So I don't take it lightly or feel like, I'm supposed to be here. No. I'm a dude who believed in his nonsense and wrote it all the way to where I wanted it to go. And I'm gonna keep going. So that's where I'm at.
The ambition, the push, the drive, like all of that. I mean, for you to automatically give them, how do I want to say it? You off-gate gave them a show already. Like, it's a lot of people who it's a lot to go into formulating a show. You basically just was like, here's the whole show right here. Tell me what you know what I'm saying? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, they loved it.
A lot of times I tell people all the time, like, anytime you have an idea and if it's something that's like outside of the norm, you have to present your idea in full, because there's a lot of people who make decisions, who like sign the checks, that have no vision whatsoever. So you have to really, present a full, complete package, just in case on paper they don't get it, what you're trying to do. Like, I turned in a proposal the other day for something I'm trying to do, but it's on paper. And I tried to be as just descriptive and detailed, short of like, like having like, artists come in and reenact and doing it on
like they can see it. You need to visualize it. So
and someone still hit me back. It's like, yo, we're gonna talk about this next week. I have a lot of questions. And it's like, if only you could just scan my brain, you know exactly what it is I'm trying to tell you that we're going to do. But
it's okay though. You're gonna get it. What's meant for you is gonna be for you. Obviously, you came this far, so
indeed,
your brain is obviously creative enough for everything to work out that you want. And manifestation is also amazing too.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Real big. So, like, was the radio industry your first choice?
Not at all.
No,
see, I started working for record companies, and the crazy thing is how I even got that job. I graduated from high school, and I did an internship, like my first semester in college, and I bust my butt so hard during that internship. They're like, "Yo, you want to work for us?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I started working for this company called Polygram Group Distribution, which was a company, which was a huge company before Universal bought them. Like, back then there was a lot more record distribution companies at the time. But like, I'm in the building with Motown, there's Def Jam, there was like Mercury Records, there was, I want to say Capitol, but I might be wrong. But there was all these different labels in there. And like, I, like on a street level, worked my butt off and made sure like they had high visibility. I was doing things that other people that like were getting paid a lot of money weren't even doing. So they hired me. So I wanted to eventually parlay that and become an A&R. But about a year and a half into working for the company, I started noticing that, hey, this isn't going to be the same in like 5 or 6 years, just because of music piracy and everything. All these like fun luxuries that we have working in this business right now weren't going to exist like fast forward 5 or 10 years from now. And I was absolutely right. Like, and I got out of Polygram before they even got bought out and merged. I ended up working for another company. I like started a street promotions company. So I was making money on the side, doing what I was doing already, but then I was still working for another company after Polygram. And you just got to kind of know the signs when your business that you're in is changing. You know what they say, evolve or die. You know what I mean? Like just imagine if you worked at the company TomTom and like you just put everything in TomTom, not knowing that a couple years from now they was going to drop a phone that was going to kill your TomTom. And and now no one has bought a TomTom, I don't think, in 5 years. Everybody's using their phone. So you like, no matter what business you're in, you got to know where the industry is going and know when to jump out. So when I saw this radio thing becoming a possible thing, I was like, you know what? Okay, you know what? Let's do that. I think that's going to be fun. And I could still kind of be an A&R because they were giving us the ability to find dope artists and play their music. So that kind of like scratched that itch for me that I had for that.
You are a natural born hustler.
Gotta, I like my lights being on. I like
You know?
food. I like food being in my fridge, and I
Right.
shop on eBay a lot. You gotta hustle.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. And I know that many people know you from the Ricky Smiley show.
Yeah.
So how is that experience for you?
It was, it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride, and like if anybody who was riding with the Ricky Smiley Morning Show from like the very beginning,
Right.
you saw the different ebbs and flows that the show had. I mean, we had a lot of different, like, guest hosts over the years, and,
Right.
a lot of different energies that we had in that room. So, there's, the crazy thing is, like, I look at that show like it was a TV show. Like
Yeah.
season 1, this was who was on the show. Season 2 through 5, it was us, and then season 5 through whatever, it was this group of
Somebody else,
people.
yeah.
So it was different as the show evolved, and it was fun. And like no matter what was going on, I just always continued to do me, And it was quite a departure from the night show I was doing,
Right.
because like at nights, you had a little bit of more of. It's weird. You have a lot of freedom because you could do whatever you want, but we also were only in one market. So when you get on a radio show to become syndicated, you have to speak to everybody at once.
Yeah.
So some of the micro marketing things that we used to do at nights, we couldn't do it in the morning because, well, what about the people at Arkansas? Or what about the people in Miami? So you can't necessarily like do some of the things that we were doing, but we still figured out ways to work around it. And like, because there was so many people on the show, like, hey, one weekend I might be here, Ricky's there, Brad's in another place. So we all worked the angles and made it work out for us. But, and we all learned a lot, I think, in the process, and it opened a lot of doors. If it wasn't for the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, I don't think, I would have been on. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I probably wouldn't have been on Dish Nation, but being on Dish Nation was an end result of the Ricky Smiley Morning Show being a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I really feel like somehow I would have been in a situation to be a part of something like that, because I've always been passionate about entertainment news for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think I would have found my way there somewhere. But the Ricky Smiley Morning Show definitely helped speedball that all the way through. Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes in this industry, it's about who you know, and the things that certain platforms that you're already on can boost you to bigger platforms. So thank God for that.
The unsung hero of that whole situation actually is Rock T. Rock T is the person who connected the people that was producing that show to the show.
Right.
And then then we did a test run. The test run went dope.
Great.
And then here we are 8 years later, man, still cooking.
Sheesh. 8 years, that's a long time.
It is a long time. Because in my head, it feels like 2.
Right.
Like time runs really weird in my head.
Okay.
Like nothing feels like the amount of time that it really is. There's a lot of times I look at my clock and I'm like, how is it this late? How did that happen?
Well, congrats on your show, The Morning Hustle. You. Yes. So how is that? Like, how is that trend, how is it now like transitioning in that role?
It's tough because you have, it's almost like, when your parents divorce and, the friends have to figure out who they're going to go hang out with more. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of people who listened to the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. And when he took over for Tom's spot, there's a lot of people who went. And that's all they listen to because, that's they rock with Ricky and, they want to roll with Ricky. There's a lot of people who maybe don't like the music that they play on an adult contemporary show like that, and they stayed back with me, whether it's because of the music or because they truly rock with who I am and what's going on. But the rest of the people that's on the show with me, they're all dope human beings in their own right. Like Ange is a DMV staple. Like people in the DMV area love Angie Ange. They grew up with her. They watched her go from being on college radio to to being where she's at now. So they love her. L'Oreal, whether you know her from her one season of Love and Hip Hop or you like listen to Lip Service and stuff like that, or if you maybe caught those 20 seconds that she was a rapper, which she still raps and she's phenomenal. Like she comes with her own fan base. And then Billy Sorrell's, you know, he's one of those guys, like if you look very closely, he's been around for a long time and he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's a hellified stand-up comedian. So I'm surrounded by a lot of dope people.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then like, and we genuinely like each other. You know, some shows,
right,
people don't like each other.
They don't.
And I think you can look around in the landscape and tell who really rock with each other and who really don't. You know what I mean? Like
it makes it easier. It makes it flow easier. You know, it makes the topics of discussions easier for whatever reason, because you have that I like you. But.
Yeah, some people work in environments where you got to get high just to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, or find a little closet to pray and meditate in so you can, you know, you can woosah it out. But fortunately for me, man, like, yo, I legitimately like the people I go to work with. And, you know, and we have a good time, even from a distance. That's probably the hardest part about this whole quarantine thing is like, you know, we're looking at each other every morning in squares, but we figure out ways to still tap in and communicate and continue to work on things. So that makes it, you know, that makes it fun. That makes it fun. It makes it not seem so disconnected.
Right. Big family, big family.
Absolutely.
That's all it's about. All this about. But we know also that you are a busy man. Busy man. And Dish Nation is one of the shows that you host as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep up with yourself? Like, you know, I know many people will say, or most people will think that I don't have enough to do, or often tell you, you know, the kind of people that you just stick to one thing. Like, how do you manage so many shows?
Well, it's tough because, you know, it's almost like having plants. You know, like I feel like I water my radio plant every day. I water my Dish Nation plant every day. My music career has become a cactus because I don't get a chance to water it every day. But, you know, on the weekends and then whenever I can throughout the week, I am doing things to try to push that boulder up the hill a little bit more often. So it's not an easy job. And then also being a parent on top of all that, who's like actively involved with what his kids are doing, it does make it tough too. But, you know, it gives you things to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not an easy juggle. I'd be a liar if I said, man, it's easy, it's simple. I just, you know, do it because, you know, because in order to do anything great, you really have to give it a lot of attention. So for me to be able to partition my brain and try to give 33 and a third to all these things, it's tough to do, but I feel like I can handle it. You know what I mean? So the only thing missing, I think, you know, from the music component is, I don't know, a drug dealer who wants to clean up his money and invest a lot of it into me to, like, you know, market myself better, because like the way the game is played, you're an artist yourself, you know what it is. Like a lot of the way the game is played is like, you know, placements, buying ads, buying your way on a different, you know, people's playlists. And my thing is like, you know, I don't wear running shoes because I don't chase people. So, you know, if I ask you nicely if you could put something on your blog or on your playlist and, you know, you don't reply to me, I'm not going to chase you. I'm just going to just keep working. And if I get the attention of 1 or 2 more people a day versus the 2,000 people a day that I would have got by having that exposure, I feel a lot better about that because like I got it honest.
What do you feel the state of hip hop is in now? Like what are your current thoughts on that?
I think hip hop is in the greatest space it's ever been, because if you're enlightened enough, you know that they literally have everything on the menu. What do you want? What kind of style of music do you want to listen to? It's all there. You know, now if you talk about commercial radio, a slightly different conversation, because, you know, radio is so confused because it doesn't know what to do, and they're always 3 steps behind on how to compete.
Right.
As it relates to a music space.
Right.
You know, the internet is going to beat you every time. And I don't have to call your radio station and request my favorite song. I can listen to it. I can pull my phone out and listen to it right now. So in that space, radio's way behind. So that's why it's up to people like me, the Breakfast Club, you know, the Ricky Smileys of the world, the DL Hewleys, you know, to bring great content and give people a reason to listen to the radio outside of the music. But, you know, when you turn the radio off and you're trying to find something dope, I mean, SoundCloud, you know, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, it's all there. You just have to, you got to know how to dig.
And learn, look for it. It's all there. YouTube University.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and the dope thing about YouTube is like, if you listen to something that's on a certain flow, they'll suggest something to you. Yeah, and once you kind of get on that path and get flowing like that, like, you know, you'll find some things that are amazing that you didn't hear about.
Well, Headkrack, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
What are some things before you go? What's some advice that you would give?
I mean, the best advice I could possibly give you is like, no matter how crazy your idea is, believe in it 100,000%. A lot of times people lose the battle because they walk into something with some level of uncertainty. Everything I've ever walked into, I walked into it like I had it already. You know what I mean? Like confident. I have it all mapped out. I have it all planned out. You got to go in there with your intentions right and your intensity on 1,000 every lap, because if they see any shred or slither of undoubt, they're like, I don't know if you're the guy. But sometimes you can look in people's eyes and tell if they really got it together or not. Going back to Mike Tyson again, when he would walk in the ring, like especially them fights, like, you know, before 97, like he won the fight already. He won the fight before the first punch was thrown. It was the look in his eyes, like he was looking through people. So that's how you got to be. And also on top of that, you have to be willing to work when it is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people don't want to put in the extra time and effort and the work because, you know, I just don't feel like it right now. Well, guess what? The people that want it more than you, they're doing the extra. So you got to do the extra, even if it requires more time.
Whole thing.
Absolutely.
The whole shebang. Well, we thank you for chilling with us here.
Thank you for having me.
Chill. We learned so much from just you and your artistry and just being creative, a creative individual and a natural born hustler. Like,
well, thank you so much, love.
Also, tell us how we can follow you. Tell everybody how we can follow you.
I am so easy. Like behind me, but my big head is blocking everything. But Headkrack. I'm so easy to find on all social media. That is the name. It's at Headkrack. If you got Spotify, iTunes, same thing. Just look up Headkrack. New music comes up, and check out my new video, Cali. It's available on YouTube right now.